I hope we're going to win that case. I think it's one of the most important cases in the history of our country. So much evolves around tariffs as a defensive mechanism for our country, as national security for our countries. We were able to make phenomenal deals. If we didn't have the tariffs, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So we thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country, but I also think that we'll have to develop a Game 2 plan. We'll see what happens.
Overnight, the Supreme Court struck down President Trump's sweeping 2025 tariffs, sending shockwaves through Washington and Wall Street. The decision, announced just before dawn, caught many by surprise and immediately became the talk of the nation. News outlets scrambled to cover the story, while politicians and business leaders rushed to respond to the seismic shift in U.S. economic policy. In a landmark ruling, the justices declared the tariffs, 10% on most imports, 20% on fentanyl-linked countries, unconstitutional. The decision was not only a legal rebuke but also a powerful statement about the limits of executive authority. The courtroom was tense as the justices read their opinions, knowing the consequences would ripple far beyond the legal world. The court's message was clear: only Congress can levy taxes, not the president. This fundamental principle, rooted in the Constitution, was reaffirmed in dramatic fashion. Legal scholars immediately began dissecting the ruling, calling it a historic defense of the separation of powers. This decision instantly dismantles a central pillar of Trump's economic agenda and triggers a financial reckoning. Markets reacted with wild swings as investors tried to gauge the long-term impact. For the Trump administration, it was a stunning setback, forcing a rapid reassessment of trade and economic strategy. Hundreds of billions in collected tariffs may now have to be refunded. The Treasury Department faces the daunting task of processing claims from businesses and importers, while economists warn of budgetary shocks and potential legal battles over who gets paid and when. The ruling redefines presidential power, setting a precedent that will echo for decades. Future presidents will now think twice before imposing sweeping economic measures without congressional approval, and legal experts say this case will be studied in law schools for generations. Lawmakers are scrambling, businesses are celebrating, and the economic landscape has shifted overnight. In Congress, urgent meetings are underway to address the fallout, while business owners across the country breathe a sigh of relief, hoping for lower costs and more stable trade. For Americans, this means potential price drops on everyday goods and a direct impact on household budgets. Families may soon see relief at the checkout line, as importers pass savings on to consumers. The effects could be felt in everything from groceries to electronics. The court didn't just end a policy, it set off a chain reaction that will reshape the economy. From global supply chains to local businesses, the aftershocks are only beginning to be understood. Economists predict months of adjustment as the country adapts to this new reality. And this is only the beginning. As Washington wakes up to a changed landscape, the nation braces for what comes next in this unfolding story. The heart of the case was Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA, to impose tariffs. The administration argued IEPA let the president act unilaterally in a national emergency, but the justices weren't convinced. They pressed, are tariffs taxes? The Constitution says only Congress can impose taxes. The court ruled Trump overstepped, using IEPA as a backdoor to create a massive tax scheme. The majority opinion drew a hard line. The president can freeze assets, not invent nationwide tariffs. This wasn't a partisan decision. Justices across the spectrum saw the risk of unchecked executive power. The ruling reasserts Congress's authority and sets a powerful new limit on presidential emergency powers. The numbers are staggering. Up to $1 trillion in tariffs may need to be refunded. This is an unprecedented sum, one that dwarfs many previous government payouts and shakes the very foundation of federal finances. The sheer scale of these refunds is almost unimaginable, and it's sending shockwaves through the halls of power in Washington. The Treasury faces a fiscal crisis, losing a major revenue stream and scrambling to pay back what's already spent. Officials are urgently reviewing budgets, searching for ways to cover the shortfall. The sudden loss of tariff income means the government must make tough choices, cutting programs, delaying projects, or borrowing even more money to stay afloat. For households, the upside is real. Economists predict the end of tariffs could save families up to $1,000 a year. That's money back in the pockets of millions of Americans, easing the burden of everyday expenses. For many, this could mean more room in the family budget, for essentials, savings, or even a little extra for leisure. Prices on imports, shoes, electronics, groceries, are expected to drop. Retailers anticipate being able to pass these savings directly to consumers, making everything from sneakers to smartphones more affordable. Lower prices could also help slow inflation, giving shoppers a much-needed break at the checkout counter. Businesses, freed from tariff costs, could hire more and lower prices. Manufacturers and retailers alike may see higher profits, which could translate into new jobs and expanded operations. Small businesses, in particular, stand to benefit as their supply costs fall, allowing them to compete more effectively. Wall Street is already reacting with optimism, seeing the ruling as a stimulus for growth. Investors are betting on a stronger economy, with stock prices rising and analysts predicting increased consumer spending. The financial sector is abuzz with talk of new opportunities and renewed confidence in the market. The government, meanwhile, must fill a massive budget hole as the national debt soars. Lawmakers are facing mounting pressure to find solutions, debating spending cuts and new sources of revenue. The challenge is enormous, and the decisions made now will shape the country's fiscal future for years to come. The economic impact will ripple from Main Street to the stock market. Local businesses, large corporations, and investors alike will feel the effects as the entire economy adjusts to this new reality. The coming months will reveal just how far-reaching these changes will be. For many, this is a long-awaited relief from rising costs. After years of feeling squeezed by higher prices, families and individuals are finally seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. The hope is that this relief will be lasting, not just a temporary reprieve. The financial fallout is huge, but so is the potential for renewed growth. As the dust settles, America faces a pivotal moment, one filled with both risk and opportunity. The choices made now will determine whether this crisis becomes a springboard for prosperity or a warning for the future. Trump framed the tariffs as a national security necessity, targeting fentanyl from China and Mexico and claiming to defend American jobs. He pitched the tariffs as a way to send direct payments to families and pay down the national debt, a populist message with broad appeal. The administration argued economic pressure would force foreign governments to act, but the Supreme Court's decision has upended this vision, ending both the security argument and the promise of tariff-funded checks. The populist pitch is now moot. Trump's plan to turn tariffs into a tool for both security and direct financial relief is over. For small businesses, the tariffs were a daily crisis, soaring costs, shrinking profits, and relentless uncertainty that made every decision feel risky. Hundreds of companies pleaded with the Supreme Court, describing million-dollar hits that threatened their survival and the jobs of their employees. Family-owned firms like Deer Stags and Green Bar Distillery faced devastating expenses, unable to absorb or pass on the costs to their loyal customers. Constant rule changes left business owners paralyzed, unable to plan or price products with any confidence for the future. The unpredictability was as damaging as the tariffs themselves, eroding trust and stability in the marketplace. The ruling offers long-awaited relief and a chance for small businesses to recover, rebuild, and look ahead with hope. For Main Street, this decision is a lifeline, restoring optimism and opportunity for communities everywhere. With the tariff struck down, the government is now obligated to refund what it collected, potentially up to $1 trillion. This is an unprecedented sum, representing years of tariff payments from businesses across the country. The scale of this refund is staggering, and it could reshape the financial landscape for countless American companies and, indirectly, for millions of consumers. Importers will need to file claims using detailed customs records, documenting every payment made under the now invalid tariffs. The government will be tasked with processing millions of refund requests, each requiring careful verification and approval. This will be a massive administrative effort, involving coordination between customs officials, accountants, and business owners nationwide. The process is complex, with each claim tied to specific products, shipment dates, and payment records. But thanks to the extensive paper trail left by years of tariff enforcement, the necessary documentation exists. Still, navigating this mountain of paperwork will be a challenge for both businesses and government agencies. The refunds will go directly to the businesses that originally paid the tariffs. Companies like Deer Stags and Green Bar, as well as thousands of others in industries ranging from manufacturing to retail. For many, these refunds could mean a significant boost to their bottom line, helping them recover from years of added costs. Many businesses are expected to pass at least some of these savings on to consumers, either through lower prices, special promotions, or even direct rebates at the register. Shoppers could see price drops on everyday goods, from shoes to spirits, as companies adjust to their improved financial position. While direct government checks to households are unlikely, the economic boost will be widespread. Lower prices and increased business activity could stimulate spending, benefiting families and communities across the country. Economists predict a ripple effect that could last for years. The refund process will be a bureaucratic challenge requiring new systems, extra staff, and months, if not years, of careful work. But despite the red tape, the impact will ripple through the economy, touching businesses large and small. Lower prices, more business investment, and renewed consumer confidence are all expected outcomes. Companies may use their refunds to expand operations, hire new workers, or invest in innovation, further fueling economic growth. The money flows back to where it started, fueling growth, providing relief to businesses, and ultimately benefiting everyday Americans through a stronger economy. This is one of the largest government paybacks in history, a rare moment when billions, even trillions, could flow back to the people and businesses that keep America running. This Supreme Court decision redraws the map for American trade and presidential power. The era of unilateral emergency tariffs is over. Future presidents must go through Congress. Trade policy will become more stable and predictable, giving businesses the certainty they crave. The U.S. may lose some leverage in negotiations, but gains in transparency and accountability. Congress will now debate whether to reclaim or expand tariff powers. For consumers and small businesses, the effects will be swift, lower prices, and more stability. The ruling doesn't end tariffs forever, but it blocks the broadest, fastest path. The economic and political aftershocks will shape America for years. A new chapter in trade policy has begun.